here's the finished product. We've got the Proline Pro-2 1/10 scale two-wheel drive short course racing truck, all complete. In the last installment, we showed you we installed the shocks, which are nice and smooth, very nice and very smooth actually. And what we've got here is the finished product before actually painting the body. And so we've put in all the electronics. As you can see, we've got the steering servo in there. It's a really nice little setup, actually. These two aluminum blocks are captured by this top screw here for the front, and this top screw and this bottom screw in the rear. And this front one, you can see it's got a nice slot, and it slides back and forth to fit your servo. And you get a couple of cool blue anodized spacers to make sure everything is nice and square. And 4 screws hold in the steering servo like you'd expect. Of course, there's a very big servo saver that's controlled. You can tighten it or loosen it as needed by this big knurled thumb screw. I've used the stock Servo Horn that comes with the servo, but I'm going to be upgrading that to an aluminum one before I actually take this out and run it, just for extra security. Let's see what else we've got. The particular receiver I'm using, which is the Absima receiver I used for the RC10 Classic build, it's just a little bit too wide to fit in this well, admittedly kind of small space that's there. But if you have a proper racing servo, radio, that should fit in there no problem. You could also mount it up here, but also, of course, with the 2.4 gigahertz antennas or aerials, you won't have. I think this one only gets up to about maybe that high, which isn't very high. Ideally, this would be maybe spin it around. I might actually move it there, and so it can go a little bit higher. But as you can see, the speed controller wire has to run down the battery and come all this way. So I know this is kind of a fairly standard setup, but it's a little bit awkward for the electronics. Obviously, you can solder on some extensions for the signal wires, but you know, that's not an optimal solution. But I don't know, we can figure it out. This is just the initial setup. I've got a let's see, I've got a HPI SF50 WP servo there. It's quite strong. It's plenty fast enough at 7.4 volts for short course racing, and very, very strong. Absima CR4T radio, HPI Plasma 5300 milliamp 7.4 pack, and a flux reload speed controller. In the back, for the motor, I've got the Orion 3750 kilovolt short course specific big block, well, sort of big block, I guess, quite large motor. I've got an old RPM pinion gear on there, and that should be plenty fast enough to get some really good air and a lot of fun with this. The next step was to install the Blockade short course tires, which are fitted on the obviously Proline F11 racing wheels. Quite nice. They went on really well. The wheel nuts are extremely strong. They're very difficult to get off, so you'll probably never have a problem with those bouncing down ahead of you on the main straight, because they're held on with serrations on the faces of the nuts. So that's about it. We're all ready to go. Just need to get the body painted, and we'll get that done in the next post with our action clip.